Hello and welcome to Up the Villa podcast. We are back again with another match preview. If you are new to the channel, subscribe, drop this video a like. And if you are a regular viewer or listener, be sure to subscribe because it'll just help us grow as well. So we are going to preview. I'm going to try and be quite fair, quite balanced. I don't really want to go over old ground, basically just because obviously I did have a little bit of a rant after the West Ham game. So if you do want to hear all of my thoughts on the absolute shit show, then go back and watch that episode. Because I don't really want to just dwell and keep producing the same content and we're just saying the same old stuff. So we're looking ahead at Southampton. Pray for me on Saturday morning because I am going to Southampton and I start work the next day at 8 o'clock in the morning. So whose hair I've got to cut at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning, pray for them as well because they might not get a top job. But so Southampton, it's a ground where we're a little bit mixed. I thought we were a lot worse at this ground than what we are. So we've played 38 times. We've had 14 wins against them, 6 at home, and the most have come away from home, which bodes well, hopefully. Our last meeting that we won was obviously away as well. They've got 8 home victories, 7 away, and there's been 9 draws. And in our last 5 meetings, we've lost 4 and won 1. So the one that came against them last season was away. Southampton's form, it has picked up. They've just beat Watford, drew to Burnley, beat Leeds, lost to Chelsea and lost to Wolves. And they're 14th and we're 15th. So in the league, we are pretty close. I do think the two teams that aren't playing particularly that great in themselves all anyway. We average 1.4 goals a game. They're averaging 0.9. They're 2 strikers, which they are interlinking as well, game on game. They're not obviously starting Adams and Armstrong each game. They're playing 4-4-2, and they've both only scored 1 goal each, which you would expect them to probably have got a bit of a better partnership. I know Armstrong, it's his first season in the Premier League. He's looked lively every time I've watched them play. And a few more stats on Southampton. They've scored 9 goals so far, shooting accuracy of 27%, 77% pass accuracy. So their stats don't look much better compared to ours. We've got a 78% pass accuracy, 19% crossing accuracy, and a 31% shooting accuracy, and we've scored 14 goals. The crossing accuracy on Villa's part of 19% is pretty grim reading, considering that for most parts of the season, we've been playing with 5 at the back, and especially with the wing-back. So it shows that was pretty ineffective as well. For Southampton, I think they've posed a big threat for Villa, pressing us in the final third. They're very big on that. Livramento is having a real good season as well down that one side. So I'd like to think Leon Bailey or Buendia can get in behind. And we all know the threat of Ward-Prowse. And it's great that Danny Ings doesn't play for them anymore because he absolutely loves a goal against Villa. So hopefully he's back in the squad. Hopefully Luiz is back as well. So we'll get onto the lineup as well. My thoughts, obviously, going to the game. Look, I want to be as positive as I possibly can. I know that will sound absolutely ridiculous. And in the comments, we'll get people saying, how can you be positive when we're playing so bad? But I'm not travelling all the way to Southampton with a negative mindset to think that we're just going to get absolutely battered to come home and then Dino get the sack. I don't want to think like that. I want to be as positive as I possibly can. I feel like in life, if you try and remain positive, you'll get positive things. So I'm very much looking forward to it. I want to see a big, big performance from Villa. Like I've said on previous episodes, I want to see us leading from the front. I want to see us coming out of that tunnel, pressing with an intensity and a belief that we can get something from the game. I don't think Southampton are an absolute great side. I think, like you've just heard me say, that they pose threats. But I think we should be looking to get something from this game. Dino needs a result. We've spoke about it. We've just got to get something, haven't we? Justin, I'll bring you in. Thoughts, please.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game, isn't it? Coming off the back of 4 defeats, nobody really wants to keep that kind of run going. And Southampton, realistically, looking at the fixtures and looking at the teams in the league, is a place where I think we can go. I think we're going to be happy, really, that we're playing Southampton next. I mean, the last 2 games, Wolves and West Ham, they're 2 out of the top 3 form teams in the country, if you look at the form table currently. So they were always going to be difficult games. I know we sort of threw the Wolves game away, but the West Ham game, we all knew it was going to be a really, really difficult game, and we didn't start well. They dominated really the game throughout. We had a couple of 3 little things that went sort of against us. It was a bit of a nightmare game, wasn't it, all round, the sending off. If anything that could go wrong did go wrong. So looking forward to Southampton now. I think what we've got to do as a fan base, and what I'm going to do, is there's nothing we can do about what's gone now. Those games have gone. I'm sure Smith's saying the same thing. Whilst I'm sure they've looked at what they did wrong and what they can do better, the focus has to now turn to the next game. And that's all they can do anything about. They can only affect what's going to happen in the future. You can't change anything that's happened in the past. So I think they need to just refocus. I think that's what they'll be doing this week. They'll be drilling down on the formation. I'm pretty sure they'll stick with the 4-3-3 now. Bailey's had a good 60, 70 minutes in his legs, last week, which should be good for him. Still no news on what actually is wrong with Ings and Louise. I've heard rumours anything from that they're going to be out for 2 months with hamstring injuries too. One of them's got COVID, both of them have got COVID. So it'd be interesting to see when we do when Dino does his pre-match, what he says about those players. I think Sanson as well, for me, if he's fit and available, could come into the equation, especially with Ramsey, another thing that went against us, isn't it? That game was a nightmare, wasn't it, West Ham? So, the Ramsey injury opens the door now, possibly for Sanson to come in. He showed that he wasn't prepared to chuck Chukwuemeka in, which I think was a bit of a mistake, if I'm honest, that Dino made. I think he probably could have had a bit more confidence in Chukwuemeka instead of chucking Ashley Young into an unnatural position, really, for him. Even when he was at his peak of his powers, he was never a centre midfielder, was he? He was a winger, and then he sort of reverted to prolong his career to a fullback. So to chuck him on in centre midfield against one of the best midfield pairings in the country, I think it was a bit of a mistake. So it'd be interesting. So I don't think he'll persevere with the Ashley Young in the centre midfield on Friday night. So I think it's going to be a straight choice between sort of Chukwuemeka or Ramsey, Sanson, should he be fit. Unless he changes formation again, which I don't think he's going to do, is he? He's going to stick with the tried and trusted. He got Conser obviously suspended, so Mings and House to start there. I do wonder, actually, whether he might chuck Ashley Young in maybe at left back. I think that could be an option, give us a bit more of an outlet, because that target has struggled to get forward this season. And we are going to need to get at him on Friday night. We want to see a positive start. That's something we haven't seen now for 4 games. All the games we've lost, we've started very poorly, which has been incredibly frustrating for me. At the very least, you should be winding your players up to get out on that pitch and start well. Away from home, you want to dampen down the atmosphere. Southampton are going to be looking, obviously, at our current form. They're going to be thinking 4 losses on the trot. If we can start really well, get an early goal, then Villa are going to be down on their luck, and they're going to be really looking at each other and pointing fingers. We don't want that. We want a good, solid first 10, 15 minutes. Really get our midfield, really be busy, getting around, no mistakes at the back. And if we can, nick 1 or 2 chances early, maybe even score early, then it will really help us to settle down. And that's got to be the way we've got to look at it. I'm going to be positive. I want us to go there and win the game and start turning things around, and things starting to look a bit better for Dino. So lots to do this week for him. Big calls this weekend, as always, for him. Be interesting to see which way he goes and what he actually desires to do.
It to me, it just feels like when we're watching us that we're always, at this moment in time, on this run that we're on, we appear to be on the back foot from the minute the ball kicks off. And I think if we can set the tone of the game to start with, to try and do a few things that which inject a tiny bit of confidence, then the whole thing just grows, doesn't it? The Villa fans start making more noise, and then it just settles everything down. But I think if we start the game slowly again, then that tone. There's only going to be one winner, isn't there? And I think that's part of the problem that we've seen in all these games. What do you think?
Definitely, I think if you look back to our two most recent wins, which was Everton and Manchester United, especially the Manchester United game, we got to grips with that really early, and we was in that game the whole game. We was very, very competitive, wasn't we? We didn't look like we was being overawed. But I think it comes down to confidence, doesn't it? Levels are, we all know there's a very, very good 11 there for Villa, and if the confidence levels are high, we're more than a match for anyone. So it's a matter of how do you go from losing 4 games, and when confidence is naturally going to be very, very low. None of them want to make a mistake. I actually think being away from home will help us because we haven't got the pressure of the home fans. The away fans are generally very, very good and very supportive, and they would only turn should a disaster happen, which we hope is not going to happen. So I think they're going to be up and at it early. It'd be just nice to get out and have a good, solid first 10 minutes. I think that's what he'll be focusing on initially. Obviously, he's got to get the team selection right, and he's got to get them motivated for it. That's his job. Pre-match and half-time is where your manager makes the money, isn't it? That's what they pay for. They pay to get into him. I always remember going to I went to an evening with John Gregory years ago, and he used to say he had this thing when he picked his team and they was just about to go out. He used to stand by the door. He said, and it sounds a bit daft, but it's the kind of thing that a lot of people did in them days. And he said, I used to stamp them on the chest. I used to pat them on the chest and say, winner, 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 as each of them went out the door. And that's just a motivational tool, isn't it? That's just gives them that little bit of extra pep as they walk out. And silly things like that. I know we're in a different age now, and it's high-powered, the money's there and all that. But ultimately, they just want to be loved, and they want to go out there confident that they're gonna do well. So the players have got to take responsibility as well. A lot of slack's been thrown Dean's way these last few weeks, and it's a shame to see it after what he's done for us. But I think he'll understand that he'll have to take it on the chin because, he takes plaudits when we do well, and he'll have to take the stick when we're not doing well. That's the nature of being the manager, isn't it? But I think sometimes the players have got to take a bit more responsibility and stand up and be counted. Being's more than likely going to be back in the team from the start on Friday, and he's the captain. And the senior pros like Martinez and John McGinn and players like that, they've got to be the ones that drive us forward. They've got to be the ones that are prepared to stand up and be counted on Friday night. And it's imperative that we start the first 10, 15 minutes for everybody, for you, for Ryan that are going. The away fans want to keep, they want to be pepped up and support them. And for all of us that are sitting watching at home, we don't want to be going and getting to 20, 30 minutes and backs against the wall again, because we're just going to be all sitting there waiting for the inevitable.
I think the thing is as well, you hear every new signing that always comes to Villa saying how big of a club it is. And, every Villa player will probably want to play to a higher level with or not with Aston Villa. So I think it's now about starting to play for the shirt and just turning up and putting in the performance and show that quality that the Villa fans know that we've got. It's not been toxic at Villa Park. It's not been toxic in away ends. We're just underperforming, which is the biggest disappointment in my eyes. I think we're just not turning up, are we, in games, which is really frustrating. And I think as a fan looking at it, we all know that this squad's capable of a lot more. You're hearing pundits, you're hearing managers, Moyes praising Villa, saying how good of a squad we've got. Everybody is saying how good this squad is, yet for whatever reason, they're just not showing anything.
No, it's solely down to Dean now to get the best out of the team he's got. It's the best squad we've probably had for a long, long time, possibly 10 years, maybe longer, since the Martin O'Neill days. And it's solely down now to Dean to get the best out of it. And that's what the owners and the chief exec will be saying to him. They've been very quiet this week, so I presume that they've spoken to him and they're backing him. There's been rumours about this and that, but ultimately nothing's been said. So I presume, they're happy for him to carry on at the moment. And he just needs that one result, doesn't he, to spark us back into life. And I'll pray for him and for all of us, because it's horrible going through these periods when you lose, because, especially a Friday night game, you've got the weekend ahead. There's nothing worse than losing a Friday night game when you've got all weekend to mull over it, and then you go back to work Monday and face everybody that's taking the mickey out of you. But so it'd be lovely to go into the weekend with the big win and put the smiles back on everybody's faces and take the pressure off us. And then 2 weeks break, then international break, where we can just refocus. Any little niggles that we've got can be sorted out, and then we can attack it after the break, and hopefully, get some more points to the board quickly. And all this 4-game disaster streak will be a long distant memory then, and we can just focus on lifting up the table. At the start of the season, we didn't. With the Jack sale, none of us predicted 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, even 7th. We were always pretty realistic that mid-table, about roughly where we finished last year, was going to be an all right season, maybe tiny bit higher, 10th, 9th, and that's well within reach. Provided we get things going reasonably quickly now. And that's the big factor now. Get things going, start getting a few wins. Forget about this horrible blip we've had, and focus back on just positivity and going forward. Hopefully winning a few games.
Yeah, I think if we can win on Friday, get in that international break, reset everything. Dino, have a little bit of a look at yourself and what's going on at the club in that break, like you did in lockdown, and we just go again. That is my positivity. That's the positivity that I'm trying to bring. I just don't want to sit here and say that we shit and we're not going to win and this is crap and he's got to go and stuff like that, because at the moment in time, he's still the manager. So I will back whoever the manager is of our football club. And yeah, I hope we can win. So let's go to the thoughts of the viewers and listeners. So marvellous support, win or lose. Southampton on Friday should be good. Peter Wilkes has put, just need to stop the rot, start on the front foot and be brave, which is pretty much what we've said. Daniel H has put, Dino needs to take inspiration from the manager in the opposition dugout. Grant has put, Young in for target at left back, hopefully Dougie back. Otherwise 4-2-3-1 with Nakamba, McGinn sitting, Buendia in the 10, Bailey on the right and El Ghazi on the left. Holt End Horizon has put, we're at a crossroads now. Win, and I think the management / players thoroughly review what went wrong in the 4 games losing streak and attempt to draw a line under October's horror show. Win, lose or draw and play badly, Dean's in big trouble and the owners will be asking serious questions. That's pretty much what we've just said, really.
Yeah.
Wayne Tolley has put, Young in for target, Twanzebe in for Konza, Luis McGinn, Sanson. Keep the front three of Bailey, Watkins, Buendia, 4-3-3. I think we'll play like a completely different team. I'm going for 3-1 Villa. Go on, Wayne. So a quick question on that point. Who do you think is going to be central defence then?
I think the team, provided roughly what we think is going to happen, if Sanson and let's say Louise are fit and let's say Ings isn't, then I think the back 4 would be, for me, Cash, House, Mings, and I would chuck Ashley Young in at left back. I'd go Louise Holding, Sanson and McGinn in front. I do still think that 3 sounds like a very good midfield. Obviously, we've got to yet to see it in action, and then the front 3 would be the same as on Sunday. So it'd be Bailey, Watkins, and Buendia. I think Buendia might have a bit more joy against Southampton. He was up against some really good players in West Ham, again, confidence, and I think a bit more space. And if we can get hold of the ball a bit more and try and push him back a bit and not just be soaking up pressure all the time, I think he will come good.
Awesome. So Villa Rich has put, it will be a bloody long drive home if the players don't turn up again. Joe B has put 0-0, mate. That sounds like a good game. Mark Bannister has put, is there really a Southampton? Is there really an Aston Villa? Or are we merely different parts of the whole, vibrating at different rates and experience ourselves subjectively? Life on Earth is perhaps an experiment in a laboratory. in a different reality, 2-0.
What?
Well, I hope all this stress that this team puts you under is actually worth something and it is actually real. But he's put 2-0, so hopefully that's 2-0 Villa. Kaz has put win, keeping the faith. Brian has put a supposed lesser profile side who are playing very well, the worst kind of banana skin for a struggling team, the kind you are very likely to slip up on. And if you do, and it's a convincing defeat, it could easily cost Smith his job. Confidence is rock bottom, and I can only see a defeat. World Football Chat, the only time we don't lose lately is when there's an international break. Things need to change. Julian has put Smith's last game if we lose. A couple more. Simon has put, with the players we have available, I'm seriously concerned. Bailey is nowhere near 100% match fit, far too open at the back. With the added negative, Conte's banned, Ramsey's injured. Who has to be our best presser, which isn't saying much. Midfield will get overrun again, I fear. And Cannock Villa has put, no matter the result Friday, we've been poor for near 11 months. It's not going to change if we beat Southampton. We'll be back having this convo in a few weeks. Time to move on, I'm afraid. So they're the thoughts, some positive, some negative. I'll read everybody's thoughts that send them in. Interestingly, Southampton's formation recently, 4-4-2. We haven't really come up against that, have we?
Not very often, no.
So it'll be interesting to see how we do match up against that formation. I do like Armstrong up front. He does seem to drag centre-backs about, so that's why I was interested to see who you would go with. I'm with you. I think I'll go House and Mings, I think, for that. I'm not sure about Twanzebe and the movement from Armstrong, to be honest. So we'll stick in a score prediction at the end of this now then. So I'm just going to go 1-1. That's what I'm going with. I'm on the fence. I just feel like if we can get something, get into an international break, everybody comes back from international duty fit, I feel like, that's enough to keep his job, I think. So what are you going for?
Look, there's no easy games in this league, so everybody's saying it's a banana skin every single Premier League, and especially there's no easy games when you're not in very good form. You don't look forward to any game, do you? I mean, after Everton and Man United, we were buzzing to get to Tottenham. That's what confidence brings, isn't it? You're confident going anywhere. So I think now we've just got to try and get a win by any way we possibly can on Friday. So I'm just going to go for a solid 1-0 Villa win. It's not going to be pretty. We're going to ride our luck, which we haven't had any of just lately. So we need a bit of luck. And when we get our chance, we've got to bury it. And we're just going to hopefully nick a 1-0. We can all relax over the 2-week break and then come back hopefully ready for the kick on.
Awesome. So I will be bringing you a fan cam / vlog of the game at Southampton on Friday. Hopefully it's a good one. Justin's tugging that beer down.
I need a few more, I think.
Let's keep the faith. Let's try and be positive. And let's just pray. Everybody pray Thursday night that we can get this win. So up the Villa.
Come on, the Villa. Come on, Dino. You can do it.